Hey, what's up YouTube? Hope you're well. It's Retro Gaming Langs here for yet another video. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while. I thought I'd do one tonight though and celebrate the fact that we are getting a new Shinobi game in the next few weeks. I think it's, I say few weeks, it's oh crikey, 7-8 weeks away, isn't it? August, something like that. So there's a new Shinobi game coming out. I think it's through Lizard Cube. So in honour of the Shinobi series, I thought I'd put a video together all about Shinobi. Right, so yeah, so where do I start with the Shinobi games? Wow. Yeah, they've definitely been a game that has been standout for me and something I always associate with the Sega MegaDrive, Sega Game Gear, and not so much others. And I know that there's other games on different platforms, but for me, it always will probably be for those two consoles, the MegaDrive and the handheld Sega Game Gear. But anyway, let's get into it. So, my first ever sort of encounter, if you like, with Shinobi was actually on Games Master. I don't know if anybody remembers Games Master back in the day. Look it up on YouTube with Dominic Diamond and Sir Patrick Moore, was it? And there was a challenge on there, and this game was on, and I was like in awe of it. It was this challenge that this person had to do. I can't remember exactly what the challenge was. I'm sure it was to get to the end of the level without dying, etc. And it was on this game. It was on Shadow Dancer, which is the secret of Shinobi. So if anybody's out there going, that's not a Shinobi game, it is, because it's got Shinobi in the title, all right? I don't know how the storyline works. I think this is a side story from it. Don't quote me on that. Look it up. There's probably lots of YouTube channels that dedicated to it. But for me, let's gloss over that. This is just a fantastic game. I was always in awe of it. The fact that you use the dog, send in the dog, send in the dog. But yeah, it's... I mean, for a start, let's just take a look at the art cover. The box art on that's fantastic. I'm probably going to be really controversial here and say that I prefer this to the arcade version. I think the arcade version, you start off in an airport, is it? If I remember rightly. Sorry, I'm getting old. Definitely start in an airport, I'm sure you do. just the art style, the soundtrack, the atmosphere, fantastic game. But this wasn't my first game that I actually played a Shinobi game on. It's actually on the Sega Game Gear. This is such a great game. And I think it's aged really well. I still play it today. Occasionally I'll whip out the Game Gear and play it on that. Obviously I emulate it as well so I can put it on the big TV. I don't understand why Sega didn't put it on the Master System. If anybody can tell me why, I'd love to know, because there is a Shinobi, and I've forgotten it. It's down there somewhere. There's Shinobi on the Master System. There's several Shinobis. There's Cyber Shinobi and there's the Shinobi Game, which was again a port of the original Shinobi Game. In fact, we'll pause the video. I'll have to get it out because I've totally forgotten that I've left the Master System game on there. Sorry about that. Anyway, continuing on. Put my brain in gear, Chris, come on. So getting back to what I was saying. So this was the original game I played. Saturday night, sat on the edge of my bed in 1991 playing this, and that soundtrack. The gameplay was really good. I loved the mechanics of it, the different elements to the game, if you like. And yeah, really good. And again, I mean, come on, we don't get box art like that these days, do we? But that's probably up there as one of my favourites because nostalgia is driven as it was the first Shinobi game I ever played. Talking of the Master System game, I played this a lot later on. I prefer the Game Gear version. The reason why I mentioned about they're two totally different games, so they are not the same game. Whereas if you look at something like Dragon Crystal is effectively the same game, and it was actually a Game Gear game that was ported to the Master System. So I don't understand why they couldn't have just ported this over to the Master System and had like another Shinobi game, called it something different, I don't know, but effectively in essence that game. That I prefer to that, and that's probably controversial. But yeah, so that's the Shinobi on the Master System. The only one I don't own is Cyber Shinobi. Have played it. Music's great. Plays okay. It doesn't play like that. That I prefer. But yeah, fantastic game. Brilliant. Then we get to the MegaDrive era, and my first game that I actually end up playing on the MegaDrive was Shinobi Revenge of Shinobi. Fantastic game. Definitely hit me like, you know, a train in terms of its music. Its addictive playability, fantastic. You know, at this point you've got to remember that the MegaDrive was like playing an arcade in your home. So was the Super Nintendo, and if you were lucky enough to own a Neo Geo, you did have an arcade in your home. But yeah, it's fantastic. Again, art style, fantastic game. Really, really good game. I think a lot of people would agree. I bet there'd be in the comments, if you put in the comments what's your favourite out of all these, I bet most of them will be the MegaDrive games. That's my prediction. And then I think the second game I ever played on the MegaDrive was Shadow Dancer, and it is a fantastic game, as I said before. So that's covered those two. Much later on, I managed to get myself a copy of Shinobi III. And between the two, I can't splitting hairs. I love them both. I think they're great games. This one's a little bit more sought after and a little bit pricey now, if I'm honest. But for me, I can't split them. I love them equally for different reasons. And it was just, you know, and I think to myself sometimes, where did this obsession come from, the Shinobi? And probably lads of my age growing up, You know, you've got to remember the 90s was full of things like Enter the Dragon. I know it's obviously an older film, but for me growing up, I'll rephrase that, I was obsessed with martial arts. My hero was Bruce Lee. I was obsessed with Jean-Claude Van Damme, watching Bloodsport and Kickboxer. So it's inevitable that I'd get into games like this, really. Manga was starting to, I feel, in the early 90s, starting to become a bit more prevalent, as a you know, stuff like the Street Fighter movie film. And I was just obsessed with martial arts. So I think this is where it came from. So there are those three. So yeah, there you got the three on the Mega Drive, as I said. And then long ages ago, I managed to get myself Shinobi 2, Silent Fury on the Game Gear, because I wanted to complete the subset of Shinobi Games on the Game Gear. And again, fantastic game, has that essence there, has that feel of a Shinobi game like all the others that have come before it. Really, really good game. Again, splitting hairs between the two, I would say there isn't a lot in it in terms of, if someone said you can only have one, I'd probably go back to the original, purely again driven by nostalgia, but they're brilliant, equally great games. We've covered the Master System, so we've got all those. And then much later on, when I get a PlayStation 2, I didn't realise much into my PlayStation playing history, if you like, there was a Shinobi game on the PS2. And I think there's two games on the PS2 Shinobi games, but I think, don't quote me on this, I think they're Japanese. So there's this one, and then there's another one that's, I think it was Japanese only. I don't know, I think there was. But this is a great game. I personally think this is underrated. Very, very hard, very brutal. Anybody that's completed this, you're a master on hard. But yeah, I'd say it's quite an underrated game. Enjoyable though. Again, we've still got that sort of box art feel to it. And then when I started doing my collecting of DS games, my daughter had DS and I was getting into the DS myself, collecting games for that, and found I bought a Super, because I'm obsessed with Super Nintendo. Nintendo decided to release a 3DS that was, it had the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, what's the word I'm looking for? Outer, if you like, case. And they did one for America, one for the PAL, and you know, I don't know if they did a Famicom version, but yeah, I bought a 3DS because it had a Super Nintendo on the outside of it, and managed to buy this. Sorry, I'm waffling on here a little bit. Yeah, good game. It's going back to the 2D side-scrolling element of it. It's not a bad game. It's not those Mega Drive games, those early Mega Drive games, but certainly if you're a Shinobi fan, it's a cheap must-have game. Well, it was cheap when I bought it. I don't know if it's still cheap now, but definitely a must-have. So it's going to be interesting when Lizard Cube release. I think it's called the Art of Vengeance, is it? And that comes out mid-August, 21st, 23rd of August. So it'll be interesting to see if they followed suit. So there you go, there's my brief history on Shinobi. I hope you've really enjoyed the video. I love Shinobi, always will do. It's definitely one of my favourite Mega Drive games of all time, and I'm surprised it never hit my favourite list. I just totally forgot. It probably got an honourable mention maybe, but it should have been in that top 10 because they are fantastic, fantastic games. Let me know in the comments below if you are a Shinobi fan, what's your favourite? And yeah, fingers crossed that come August, we'll all be playing Shinobi on our Switches and PlayStations and in having that nostalgia trip of the 90s on Game Gears and Mega Drives. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.